Hello from the Music Interview Corner, today from the Tuska Festival in Helsinki and with Bill of Carcass.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. How about you?
Fine.
Okay.
How is it for you to play at Tuska again?
It's nice. I mean, we had a good time, you know, however many years ago, 5 or 6 years back. That was good. It's nice to be invited again.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a different location, so it feels quite different. I mean, we've only been here for like 2 hours, but yeah, it's a different vibe, but still cool.
Carcass disbanded twice, and you always reformed the band. How did you experience this time without the band, and what gave you the energy and the motivation to reform the band?
Goodness, a lot of different things, really. I mean, I guess there's the cliche of unfinished business, because I think Jeff and myself would both agree that we wanted to correct certain mistakes we made in the past. I'm talking about small stuff, just things you would do differently if you were to make another album. So I guess that's part of the reason we did Surgical Steel. Yeah, but the initial reformation thing was just down to, Christ, people telling us that there was a demand for us to play again, which I was skeptical about initially, but it turned out to be a good idea. It was a lot of fun to do it, and it's got us this far, so yeah.
Your new album, Surgical Steel, was released last year, and it was very successful. How does it feel for you? Because especially since you took such a long break before.
Surprising, very surprising. That's the main feeling. We're just grateful. Christ, I mean, we wouldn't have bothered making a record if we didn't think that we had something to bring to the table. But the element that we didn't expect was just the amount of interest and attention we got. We figured it would just be for a small number of people, the really hardcore Carcass fan base. But it seems to have reached a lot of other people, and we got very good press and stuff, and that was just unexpected. Yeah.
I think the best chart position of Surgical Steel was here in Finland.
That's correct, yeah. What was it, 8 or something?
Do you have a special relation to the Finnish fans or to Finland?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Jeff has spent an enormous amount of time here. I'm not really sure how that chart placing happened, but it's lovely. I don't know, he's the businessman in the band. You know, he has all the facts and figures at his disposal, but I'm sure he could explain the reason why that happened. But yeah, it was kind of a shock.
Yeah, and I think Jeff also had this kind of blues project. He covered songs, blues songs with...
Yeah, kind of, yeah, or like vaguely in the country sort of sphere, but he just metalized them a bit. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and you also did a kind of blues project, Firebird, in the past?
I mean, it was more like an old school hard rock thing with a bluesy angle to it, but, you know, I don't think it would be strictly blues, you know, because obviously I'm, you know, of the wrong generation and probably the wrong skin color, but yeah.
But what fascinates you about blues? Because you are both metal guys, more, and what fascinates you about this blues and rock thing?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm pretty old, so actually, but like, yeah, it's more like I grew up with the early hard rock stuff and heavy rock, and the very beginnings of heavy metal. So I was aware of the fact that that did come from blues to some degree, and you know, whether you're listening to Cream or Jimi Hendrix or Johnny Winter, you must have an awareness of where that music came from, and I was just curious, so I delved back into it further. You know, I like exploring history, whether it's, you know, like actual history or musical history. So that's part of it. I can't speak for him. I'm not sure what his motivation was.
Especially the earlier stuff of your band is quite often about meat and about kind of surgical destruction of the human body. But I think that all of the band members are vegetarians, and you and Jeff, you are even vegans, right?
Well, no, we used to be. Jeff and myself, we don't eat meat or fish. I mean, that's been the case since the 80s. But we stopped being vegan, I guess, sometime in the 90s. I'm full of admiration for anybody who can carry it through, but I think I did about 7 or 8 years of it, and that was enough for me personally. But I just can't eat flesh. I don't really like it. The 2 new guys in the band, though, they do. You know, we kind of had to get people based on their playing rather than their dietary preferences, unfortunately. Yeah.
Of course, but how does it go together with these topics of your early lyrics?
The way I always try and explain it this way. We were trying to confuse people and because we were playing extreme music and some of our imagery was kind of disturbing, but we liked to throw in the vegetarian angle. Yeah, just to cause havoc, really, I guess, because we weren't. I mean, we were young. We were teenagers, and we were a little bit brain dead, but not stupid enough to kind of go wholesale into that thing of like, oh, we're evil and we're going to terrify you and we want to kill everybody. Because obviously we didn't. We're not dangerous people. So I think, especially when Jeff took over the lyric writing thing early on, like the second album onwards, really, he made that his own, and the vegetarian side of it did come into play quite a lot. Yeah.
And do you know where does that fascination comes from for the human body and the destruction of the human body?
Well, as I said, we were teenagers. I wouldn't necessarily be that way inclined now, but we started the band when we were very young, so we just kind of taken the initial blueprints and just messed with it a little bit, and made it work for us in different areas of our lives, I guess, or something. Or I could just be talking rubbish. I don't know. I'm very tired.
It's okay. Me too. But I think this worked out very well, so that people even remember it nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nice. It seems like it's influenced a couple of bands here and there, and yeah, and we have fun doing it. It's a buzz going on stage and playing a riff that you wrote when you were 15 or 16, and it's still valid and people are reacting to it. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And when you recorded Surgical Steel, what was the craziest thing that happened during the recordings?
Let me think. Nothing crazy. It was kind of uneventful. I mean, probably the most interesting thing would have been the studio getting snowed in. So Jeff and I were staying down the hill in central Chesterfield, and the studio was like kind of uphill, and we couldn't get to it because there was so much snow on the road. That's probably the most interesting thing. Otherwise, it was just record all day and then go for drinks at night time and try and avoid getting beaten up in Chesterfield. It was very uneventful.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did.
Is there anything about Carcass that you never, oh, sorry, I pronounce it Finnish all the time. Is there anything about Carcass that you never ever told in an interview and that you might tell today?
Oh, goodness, that's tricky. There's probably loads of things, but I'm really struggling to think of anything on that one. Yeah, God. That's very difficult. You'd have to ask me something more specific, I think, probably, because, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, during all the years you were on tour with Carcass, what were the best moments and what was the craziest thing that you guys ever did on tour?
Wow. We're not the craziest people. Like, I would say we're fairly boring. Let me think. I guess in the early years, a lot of people didn't realise how Ken was, because I mean, Ken was besides being our drummer, he had this whole other life. He was studying ecology at university, and he had a group of friends that had nothing to do with music. And as soon as the band was done touring or recording, he would go back to that world, and he didn't really mix the two things. So he was the one person in the group that did have another life, whereas Jeff and Michael and myself, we more or less burned our bridges for whatever reason. And yeah, so Ken was definitely a guy. There was so much more than met the eye. If you're looking at the four people in Carcass in the early years, and he's still very much like that now. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not playing in Carcass, but he's still very interested, and we're very involved with each other as friends. But there's a whole other side to him. I mean, he makes dance music. I think he's on his third album now. So yeah, he's always been the wild card in the band, the person that I don't know. It's very hard to just put him in a pigeonhole. He just does his own thing.
Yeah, and what are your future plans with Carcass?
We have a load of touring up until December, more or less, cool. Which is nice. And then hopefully we'll have a bit of time off where we can maybe have a crack at writing some new material. Have the odd day off and relax, maybe. But yeah, I think we'd like to make another record next year, but it depends on whether we can slow this down, because people keep throwing more dates at us and we keep getting busy. So we definitely need a quiet period in order to get to work.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, and goodbye from the Music Interview Corner.